Who's going to present?
Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Ah, yes. It's a video, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So ensure that your all your group mates are ready, and then you can start. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. We, the group 1 students from roll number 127. Now I am going to say what is a capacitor. A capacitor is a device that is used to store charges in an electrical circuit. Inside, the terminals connect to two metal plates separated by a non conducting substance. When activated, the capacitor quickly releases electricity in a tiny fraction of a second. Now, principle of a capacitor. A capacitor works on the principle that the capacitance of a conductor increases appreciably when an earth conductor is brought near it. Hence, a capacitor has two plates separated by a distance having equal and opposite charges. Thank you.
Hi, I am Jivita from roll number 2. Now we can see the materials of the circuit diagram. And now we can have battery, capacitor and two switches, resistor and a LED. Two switches are provided here to resist the flow of current in a battery through a capacitor and a capacitor to LED. Battery is connected to the capacitor. The current flow from battery is charges the capacitor, and after some time the capacitor is charged and the battery is removed. Now the switch is on, the charge the capacitor lights in the LED. After some time LED is emitted due to the discharging of the capacitor. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is AC Valli Priyanka Balasubramanian. Let us theory. Capacitor is a passive two-terminal electrical component used to store energy electrostatically in an electric field. The forms of practical capacitors vary widely, but all certain at least two electrical conductors or plates separated by a dielectric or insulator. The conductors can be thin film, coil, etc. The insulator acts to increase the capacitor's charge capacity. An insulator can be glass, ceramic, plastic film, air, paper, etc. When a capacitor is connected to a circuit with a DC supply, two processes occur which are called as charging and discharging. An increasing DC voltage is applied to a discharged capacitor. The capacitor draws what is called the charging current and charges up. When this voltage is reduced, the capacitor begins to discharge in the opposite direction. Thank you.
The first of battery are to charge the capacitor. When capacitor on storing charge, when remove our battery, in LED on lights. That's all.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Amitika, roll number 5. I'm going to speak about the discharging of the capacitor. So, after the charging of the capacitor, as soon as the switch is put in, a large amount of current starts to flow, and the potential difference across the capacitor drops. As the charge flows from the one plate of the capacitor to the other through the resistor, the charge is neutralized, and so the current falls, and the rate of decrease of the potential difference also falls. Eventually, the charge on the plate is zero, and the current and potential difference are also zero, so the capacitor is fully discharged. Thank you.
That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
Show the working your model. Play the video. You can't play it with the sound?
Ma'am, the sound is not audible, ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you talking, but the video somebody is demonstrating, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am. Low
video is
explain.
playing, audio is not playing. Okay, once again you try.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good, good. Now we'll move on to the second group. Group 2. Group 2 who's present?
Yeah, ma'am, I will.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, my screen is visible.
Yes.
Ma'am, audio audible, ma'am.
Just play it. Play the video.
Ma'am, audio is audible.
No.
No. Ma'am, any other can present, ma'am. Next I will present, ma'am. Something problem is there.
Ani, he started to present, no?
Yeah, ma'am.
So
We are
same
group
group,
two.
no? Try.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Excellent. Good job, group 2. I hope all of you contributed to this, right? Who did
Yes,
this?
ma'am.
Who did this?
Ma'am, me and Anita.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Okay, now group 3.
Ma'am?
Yes,
Ma'am,
you
shall we
want to
explain
explain?
or else? Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes. Make it fast. Yes.
Adavan, start.
Good morning everyone. We are from group 2. We are going to present on the topic reflection from a plane mirror. Aim. The aim of the experiment is to show that reflection from a plane mirror by using laws of reflection. Materials required. Plane mirror, white paper, comb, a torch.
Hello, everyone. The principle based on this experiment was laws of reflection. The incident ray and the reflected ray and the normal to the reflecting surface all lie in the same plane. The angle of incidence I is equal to the angle of reflection has been proved by this experiment.
Good morning all. Now let's see the procedure. First, we have to place a white paper on the board or a table and fix it. Then place a plane mirror vertically on the white sheet of the paper and trace its edges.
Using a clay or any eraser, you can fix a comb onto the edges of the sheet of the paper. Ensure that the sheet between the mirror and the comb has a length of 20 centimeter or more, so that the reflection of the light from the mirror is clearly visible.
Make the room partially dark by switching off the light in the room, then on the torchlight. You can observe the path of light ray emitted by torch.
Tilt the plane mirror such that it is at an angle with the comb and observe the path of light rays. Light from the source travels in a straight path. The reflected ray from the tilted plane mirror from a crisscross pattern as seen on the sheet of white paper. We can observe both laws of refraction from the experiment hence proved.
Hello. And observation result. Hence the reflection of the light from the plane mirror is observed. The angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection. Incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. Hence the law of reflection proved. Thank you, ma'am.
Group 2 over?
Yes, ma'am, over.
Yes, group 3 now. Very nice, group 2. Group 3? Who's presenting? If group 3 is not ready, we'll move on to group 4.
Shall I present? Shall I present, ma'am?
Are you group 3?
4, ma'am.
Lalit, your audio is very feeble.
Just a second, ma'am.
Group 4, are you? Okay, Lalit, present. Yes, Lalit Kumar, you can present your screen, your video. Group 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Now we are going to see Aaron's fountain. First, let's see the video.
Good, good. Who did the
Now
experiment?
let's Siddesh Ram, ma'am.
Oh, super. Yes, start.
Now let's see about it briefly. Now I welcome Sindhuja to introduction.
Introduction. Heron's fountain is a hydraulic machine invented by the 1st century AD inventor, mathematician, and physicist Heron of Alexandria, also known as Hero of Alexandria. Heron studied the pressure of air and steam, described the first steam engine, and built toys that would spurt out water, one of them known as Heron's fountain. Principles are hydraulics and pneumatics. Thank you.
Thank you, Sindhuja. Now I welcome Arish to say about it constructions.
It's construction. At the top we have basin, at the middle we have water supply, and at the bottom we have air supply. Pipe P1 from a hole in the bottom of basin A to the bottom of air supply container C. Pipe P2 from the top of air supply container C to the top of the water supply container B. Pipe P3 from the bottom of the water supply container B up through the bottom of the basin A to a height above the basin's rim.
Thank you, Arish. Now I welcome Janani and Siddesh to say about it workings.
Good morning, all. I am Janani, roll number 23. I am going to explain the working of Heron fountain. The energy of moving the water ultimately comes from the water in B descending into C. This means the water in B can rise into A only as much as it falls from B to C. Water falling from A down to C through pipe P1 will build up pressure in the bottom container. This pressure is proportional to the height of difference between A and C. The next steps will be explained by Siddesh.
Good morning, everyone. This is Desh. Pressure is transmitted by the air through pipe P2 into the water supply B and pushes the water up into pipe P3. Water moving up pipe P3 replaces water falling from A into C, closing the loop.
Thank you, friends. Now I invite Santosh and Deepak to tell about principle of working.
Principle of working. The air in C must not escape through the pipe P1, which is why P1 must go to the bottom so that the water will seal it. The air B must not escape through pipe P3, either, which is why P3 must go to the bottom so that the water will seal it.
Good morning, everyone. I am Deepak, roll number 28. Water must be prevented from going directly through pipe P2 from B to C. So P2 must connect the top of B with C. If P2 were connected to C at the bottom, water would seal it and air pressure would not build up in B. So P2 must be connected at the top of C. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Now I am Lalit Kumar. I am going to explain you about facts on Heron's fountain. Heron's fountain is not a perpetual motion machine. If the nozzle of the spout is narrow, it may place for several minutes, but it even actually comes to a stop. Flow of water from high gravitational potential energy to low gravitational potential energy causes a fountain to form due to increasing pressure on the inside of the system. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you all.
Very good. Very nice presentation. Now we'll move on to the next group. 5.
Ma'am, shall I present, ma'am, group 3?
Yes, group 3, yes. No problem, even if the audio is not there. Just show your video.
Welcome to everyone. Today we are going to take a look at earthquake alarm system. The earthquake alarm system can provide warning of the ground shaking during an earthquake. The objective is to rapidly detect the initiation of an earthquake, estimate the level of ground shaking to be expected, and issue a warning before significant ground shaking starts. Feasibility studies of earthquake alarm system methodology shows that the amount of warning time would range from a few seconds to a few tens of seconds, depending on their distance from the epicenter of earthquake. This is enough time to slow and stop transportation, such as trains, planes, and cars entering the bridges and tunnels. To move away from the dangerous machines or chemicals at work and take cover under a desk to automatically shut down and isolate the industrial systems. The basic principle of work in one earthquake detector is the vibration sensor. When the earthquake occurs or when the dynamo earthquake simulator started, the resulting vibration caused the movement of the pendulum. This pendulum movement is what will trigger the sound of the bell. When the pendulum movement causes the pendulum in contact with the copper wiring, then the electricity will flow towards the bell. When electricity flows into the bell, the rise in membrane vibration in the bell. A vibrating membrane will produce resonance, which then led to a wave. This wave is what produces a sound of the buzzer. Pendulum vibration frequency closely related to the magnitude of the voltage or potential difference given an dynamo that causes the rotor to rotate.
Increasing the voltage will increase the rotational speed of the rotor and arch dynamo. Faster the rotor rotation, vibration of the pendulum will be even greater. This resulted in the pendulum be faster and more frequent touching circular copper wire, which is connector, electricity and bell. That the buzzer will sound increasingly rapid and dynamic. So why do we need early earthquake warning? Current earthquake mitigation strategies focus on long-term ground shaking forecast that can be used in building design. The rapid post-event notification used for emergency response. Early warning systems allow for short-term mitigation, including slowing and stopping of transportation systems, switching industrial and utility systems to a safe mode, and taking personal protective measures. Early warning is reducing the number of casualties and the cost of earthquakes in California. Recording advantage of the back alarm is that it can wake you up and alert you the moment the quad starts so that you can immediately take cover or tend to other family members. The quad alarm can eliminate confusion, save valuable seconds, and provide peace of mind.
Short-term mitigation, including
Save valuable seconds and provide peace of mind.
short-term
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. That was a very nice presentation. Next, group 5.
Yes, ma'am. Ready, ma'am. Girish will present the video.
Yes, start. Yes, I think it is again running. Your video is again playing from the start, I believe. Yes, Girish, you are playing the video second time, huh?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. A warm welcome to one and all. We did an experiment on reflection from a plane mirror. So let us welcome Sindhu to explain our experiment.
Hello everyone, myself M. Sindhu. I am going to explain a topic on reflection on plane mirror. Fix a white sheet of paper on a drawing board or a table. Take a comb and close all its openings except one in the middle. You can use a strip of black paper for this purpose. Hold the comb perpendicular to the sheet of paper. Throw light from the torch through the opening of the comb from one side. With slight adjustment of the torch and the comb, you will see a ray of light along the paper on the other side of the comb. Keep the comb and the torch steady. Please place a strip of plane mirror in the path of the light ray. After striking the mirror, the ray of light is reflected in another direction. The light ray, which strikes any surface, is called the incident ray. The ray that comes back from the surface after reflection is known as the reflected ray. Thank you.
Myself Bhargavi and my roll number is 33. A ray of light is an idealization. In reality, we have a narrow beam of light which is made up of several rays. For simplicity, we use the term ray for a narrow beam of light. Draw lines showing the position of the plane mirror, the incident ray and the reflected ray on the paper with the help of your friends. Remove the mirror and the comb. Draw a line making an angle of 90 degrees to the line presenting the mirror at the point where the incident ray strikes the mirror. These lines is known as normal to the reflecting surface at that point. The angle between the normal and the incident ray is called the angle of incident. The angle between the normal and the reflected ray is known as angle of reflection. Measure the angle of incident and the angle of reflection. Repeat the activity several times by changing the angle of incident. Record the observation in the table. Now I welcome Girish to explain other matter of reflection from a plane mirror.
Good morning. I am Girish Kumar, A34. There is a relation between angle of incidence and angle of reflection. If the experiment is carried out carefully, it is seen that the angle of incidence is always equals to the angle of reflection. This is known as law of reflection. Let us perform an activity on law of reflection.
Myself Sushmita. Perform the above activity again. This time use a sheet of stiff paper on a chart paper. Let the sheet project a little beyond the edge of the table. Cut the projecting portion of the sheet in the middle.
Hi, this is Simon Surana. Look at the reflected ray. Make sure that the reflected ray extends to the projected portion of the paper. Bend the part of the projected portion on which the reflected ray falls. You will be able to see the reflected ray. Bring the paper back to the original position. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Ekeshwaran. When the whole sheet of paper is spread on the table, it represents one plane. The incident ray, the normal at the point of incident, and the reflected ray are called in this plane. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am A29 Raghavendran. When you bend the paper, you create a plane different from the plane in which the incident ray and the normal light. Then you do not see the refracted ray. It indicates that the incident ray, the normal at the point of incidence, and refracted ray all lie in the same plane. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Group 5. That was very nice. Now we'll move on to the next group, Group 6.
Yes, ma'am, I'll present.
Yes.
Ma'am, is the screen visible?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it audible?
Play. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, all. Here we are, Group 6, making an ILM 3 model making on laser security alarm. So here we have laser security alarm. So in today's video, we will learn what is laser security alarm and its uses. So laser security systems are high tech that are used to be a part of home security. So basically we can divide it into three words: laser, security, and alarm. So what is a laser? Laser is a light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. And security is nothing but the protection. And alarm is nothing but the awareness of danger. So laser-based security system is a type of security and alarm systems that uses laser light and a light sensor. A security system protects our homes, offices, banks, lockers, etc. from intrusions and unauthorized access. So next, now I call Sahasra Muskan to tell about the inventor of laser security alarm.
Hi, good morning. I'm Shaista Muskan. The alarm was patented in 1853 by Reverend Augustus Russell Pope, 1819 to 1858 of Somerville, Massachusetts. Edwin Home acquired Pope's patent rights in 1857 for USS 1500 and manufactured the device in this factory in Bushton.
Next, I call Tangapandian to tell about properties of laser light.
Properties of laser light set: monochromatic, emitting only one wavelength, coherence, all in the same phase, improving focus, polarized in one plane, easy to pass through the media, collimated in one direction and non-spreading, high energy, intensity measured by watt.
Next, I call Sam Sangeet to tell about principal working of laser security alarm.
Happy morning to all. This is A42 Samsung. Laser-based security system is a type of security and alarm system that uses laser light and a light sensor. A security system protects our homes, offices, banks, lockers, etc. from intrusion and unauthorized access. There are different types of security systems available, and laser-based security system is an important and efficient type. A laser security system can act as a standalone system which makes sound or noise when it detects any irregular activity, or can be part of a much bigger security and home automation system which can send messages, call the owner, etc. In this project, we have designed a simple DIY laser based security system which acts as a wire like a security system and triggers an alarm when the laser is interrupted. The word laser is actually an acronym for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Essentially, a laser concentrates light to create straight and bright beams. Lasers have multiple uses, including hair removal, eye repair, and cutting. Nowadays, some dentists even use lasers instead of drills when filling small cavities. And as we are discussing in the post, they can also be a huge part of home security. Thank you.
Next, I call Sivakumar A41 to tell the applications of laser security alarm.
Good morning to all. Myself Sivakumar, A41. Applications. Laser security system can be used in safety lockers in our homes, where even if the locker's code is hacked, it acts as an additional layer of the security. Apart from security systems, the laser-based setup can also be used to check if pets or babies crossed a certain boundary.
Thank you. Next, 839 Srinivasan to explain about the video setup.
This is the laser security alarm. It consists of DC547 transistor and LDR, 100 ohm resistor, a LED bulb, breadboard, buzzer, 9-volt battery, and a connecting wire. The principle of laser security alarm is the laser alarm buzzes only when the light is obstructed by any object. When the light doesn't hit on the LDR, the circuit closes and the buzzer starts ringing. So this is the closure loop. Now I will show you the experiment. So first I connect the wires. Okay. So now you hear the ringing sound. It doesn't. Here's when the light falls on the LDR. So now I will show you the laser light when it hits on the LDR. When the light goes off, the circuit closes and the buzzer sound will be here.
Next, I will call Monavashni to tell about advantages of laser security alarm.
Advantages of laser security alarm. It can be installed very easily. It can be damaged easily. It can be used in smaller areas also.
Next, I call Neela Krishna A44 to explain about disadvantages of laser security alarm.
Myself, Leela Krishna, A43. Disadvantages of laser security alarm. The laser security alarm works only if the laser is obstructed. If the intruder passes through without obstructing the laser, it is considered as failure. In order to secure large area, we need more lasers and corresponding sensors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was really very nice. So a big applause, a round of applause and appreciation for all the students of A section for wonderfully executing the ILM 3. Very nice. So thank you. I think